Well, hello there. Hi, Monica. Hi, Paula. Okay.
Well, hello there.
Whoop, I've got my sound on my laptop. Got to get rid of
Hi,
that.
Monica.
Okay, got rid of that. I had just added a title for today's demo, and I don't see it on here. So I guess I'll try to add that later. Looks like I'm getting pixelated already. I'm hoping that we can get through this broadcast without too much difficulty, or without any difficulty would be nice. With the Facebook fiasco yesterday, I was wondering if I was going to have any problems today or not. It seems like everything's running smoothly, at least on my end. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Julia. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best as far as the broadcast quality goes, but it's Facebook, it's an internet connection. Who knows? Anyway, I am making a Halloween charm bracelet today, as you know. And my friend Deb Henready gave me the idea of doing this. I'm kind of copying hers, but I kind of put a little bit of a different spin on that. But I spoke to Deb about it, and she was cool with me doing a demo. So, it's good to go. I am going to make the bracelet, and then I'm going to make some earrings. And hopefully you will like them. And you will want to make some for yourself. I also spoke to Gwen Youngblood, who runs Rolling Mill Resources, and that's where I got my Halloween patterns from, the metal patterns, and she has put some pre-stamped or rolled patterns on her Etsy site. And so if you don't have a rolling mill and you want to get some of these copper sheets, I think she makes them in brass too. You'd have to check with her Etsy site, and she can stamp some of these or roll some of these pattern sheets out for you. So that's kind of a neat thing. So thank you very much, Gwen. Hey, Cynthia, Carol, Deb, Judith. Hello, you guys. Thanks for joining me. Deb, you're only 2 minutes late. You can critique me on this since you are the inventor of this very cool pattern. Just chime in anytime. Anybody can chime in anytime. That would be fine. Anyway, Rolling Mill Resources has some great paper patterns. If you don't know what those are, let me turn around and grab a couple. She's got some cool stuff. Now, I've used these already, but they still will get a few more rolls out of them. These are the spider webs, which are very cool, and some skulls, which are equally cool, bats, and some skulls in the reverse pattern. Don't quote me on that. They're either reverse or they're regular. What else? Oh, and I've still got some in the thing here. And pumpkins. I hope you can see those okay. Just got them regular and reverse as well. So lots of fun patterns to choose from. She also has some very cool earring shapes. She actually messaged me this morning and said that she made some, I think she said 1-inch shapes of the different patterns. But these are, I think, intended for earrings or pendants. And she will customize some of the shapes that she already has, depending on what you want. So you'd have to check with her on that, but she's got a lot of cool things available. Yeah, the skulls are very cool. Hi, Mary. Okay, so that's how the patterns come when you buy the patterns for the rolling mill. But like I said, if you don't have the rolling mill, she sells the imprinted metal all ready to go. You just have to cut it out. All right, so that's that. Let me... Hey, Gwen. Gwen is in the house. Okay, so here is what I have done. And I kind of followed Deb's pattern, but I did make a little different spin on it just because that's how I roll. What can I say? But hers was lovely, just as it was. What I did here was I cut discs in 3 different sizes and tried to mix them up, you know, so there's different patterns throughout. Okay, and then I added some 6mm wire wrapped copper balls on here because I kind of like that little, I don't know, the little dangles on there. Okay, so that, and then I put it on a 2-in-2 chain, which is pretty easy to work with. It's very simple. I made a little clasp here, and then I made some earrings in a couple of different ways, both very simple. Just kind of mixed up the order a little bit of the designs. But then I got to thinking this morning, it might be kind of cool to add some other Halloween colors in the mix. I didn't have time to mess around with it, but I was thinking, since I have some of these colors, it might be kind of fun to put them in, to incorporate them in here and there. But you know, I don't know, if you just like the copper look by itself, that's fine. Or if you want to just jazz it up just a little bit, you could add some colored seed beads or colored beads in there if you wanted to do that. So that's just an option, just a little thought. Okay. Hey, Jackie. Hi, Carrie. Okay. No, you're not chopped liver, Carrie. I can't see the screen every minute, so I check every once in a while. Deb asked me how many solder joints did I do. LOL. I love those colors, and I love the balls on your bracelet. The balls. Now you know darn well, Deb, I did not solder any of these links. When you're soldering, or when you're doing chainmail in multiples, you know, multiple jump rings, it just, to me, it's just, especially the size of these, there's 4mm, it would be so tedious. I would probably rip every hair out of my head. So no, it's not, I don't think it's necessary at all. Maybe if the rings were larger and they were a thinner gauge, maybe that would be a thing you'd want to do if they're going to get a lot of torque. But I don't know, to me, chainmail is usually just fine on its own without soldering. Hey, Tammy. Okay, so that is the project for today. I'll show you some of the stuff we're going to use. You need copper sheet, of course. I hope that I stay in the frame throughout this. You need a disc cutter, unless you want to cut circles, which I certainly don't want to do, but it could be done. But the disc puncher makes it much easier. So it's got the holes and then the punch discs right here, different sizes. This is a Pepe Tools product. This is an old version. The newer versions that they sell around it, but it's got all the same stuff, so it doesn't make one bit of difference. This is older, but it still works really well, so I'm hanging on to this. All right, so you need a bench block, a hammer, you need a sanding stick or something to sand your pieces with. You need, let's see here, a variety of things depending on what you're going to do. If you're going to put balls on your bracelet, then you'll need 6mm balls. I use a 2mm round ball too, because sometimes the holes are large in these bigger beads, and the head pin will go right through it. So a little 2mm ball will stop that from happening. And some copper head pins. These are 2-inch. Yeah, 2-inch. And you need some jump rings, a bunch of jump rings. What I normally do when I don't have a project going on is make a lot of jump rings at one time, and I have like a little process that I go through with them, and I make all the jump rings, and then I string them on a wire. I dip them in the liver of sulfur to get them all coated, then clean them with steel wool, and then I put them in the tumbler, and they come out like this, so I don't have to, you know, mess around with these just individually. So it makes it much easier. Then I always have a bunch that I can use. So I can whip up some chainmail real quick or whatever. I was working on this chain last night. It didn't take very long at all. Now when I've already got these pieces patinaed, then I don't usually stick them back in the liver of sulfur again, but you could. It's an option. You could. But I did do extra discs, and since I had the chain already made when I made the demo project, I just patinaed the discs separately, and then I put them all together. So it just made a little bit less work for me to do it, and it made more sense to me. So okay, then you need 2 pairs of flat nose pliers. You need a hole punch of some sort. You can either use a 2-hole punch or a punch pliers or the Euro tool punches. There's, you know, it just whatever you have on hand. So you need round nose, small round nose, or standard round nose pliers, wire cutters, and then to make my clasp, then I use the long round nose pliers, and then a pair of chain nose pliers. So I think that's pretty much all the tools. Then I've got a little pot of liver of sulfur going. I have a chasing hammer to make my clasp with, and I think we're good to go. Let me see here. Yeah, Gwen, I love this disc cutter. Love it, love it. Deb says, making jump rings in your spare time is not normal. And you're always doing something. Well, you know, that's how I keep my sanity. It's this is kind of like my day job now, you know, and I really like it because I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. So it's kind of cool. Tammy, these are solid copper. I have a place on Etsy that I'll look up for you. I'll put that in the resources of where I got the last batch of my copper findings. At least I think I got them on Etsy. I'll double check, but yeah, I will do that. But yeah, always use solid copper if you can. Hey, Dawn. Hi, Cindy. You know what? I don't know if any of us is normal or not. I know I'm not, and my buddies aren't, so, and that's good. We're all on the same page. All right. So, you know, Deb, it's nice to have extra parts and pieces made, so that way, when you get an idea to make something, you know, you don't have to stop and make those other parts and pieces. But you know, sometimes you'll sit on them for a long time. You might not need them, but when you do need them, they do come in handy. So, okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take a sip of my water. Because I get dry pipes when I'm talking to you guys. All right, so then I'm going to take my disc cutter here, and hopefully I'll be in the frame right. And what I chose for this bracelet, as far as the sizes go, are 3/4 inch, 5/8 inch, and a 1/2 inch. So, but you can do it however you want to do it. There's no rules. I'm just telling you what I did. But you can do your own thing. Where's my bracelet? Here it is. And I like the difference in the sizes for the earrings because, you know, just lends a nice little variety. These are the 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch, and 3/4 inch in there. Oh, and I also use a flash shiner after I clean the discs with from the liver of sulfur with 4O steel wool. They still are a little bit dark, but I don't want to take all the darkness off. So if I just kind of surface clean them a little bit with the steel wool, then I can run the flash shiner over it, and it just reveals the high spots a little bit nicer. They're not so dark. Okay. All right. Okay, so when you have your sheet metal, you can cut it wherever you want, but if you are trying to capture some of the full-size images, you'll have to kind of move around the sheet a little bit. If it doesn't matter to you, you could just go anywhere with it. But what I normally do is I cut my sheet metal upside down because for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because my disc punch is older and I've used the heck out of it or what. Sometimes I'll get a little bit more of a burr on the bottom of it, and I'd rather have the burr on the bottom of the disc than on the top where the image is. So, but that's just my personal preference. Anyway, so on here, I'm going to take my 3/4 inch, my 5/8 inch punch, and my 1/2 inch punch. Now I've got a leaky nose. It's always something. Excuse me. Okay. And then I'm going to put the copper in. So I want this guy, his skull in here. So I'm going to put him, you know, you have to make sure which ones fit. So I'm going to go into the 3/4 inch, and I'm working upside down. So I'm going to just turn this over and make sure that I've got his whole head in there, or at least the parts of his head that I want. You might have to turn it around a bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to use another little piece as my shim on the side here. Oh, and I forgot my cut lube, darn it. All right, well, I'm only going to cut a couple of pieces because I already have a bunch cut. But if I had my cut lube right here, I would run this edge of the punch and just a little lubrication in there. But you use your cut lube. Okay. All right, now I'm going to make some noise here. Once you can feel it kind of break through, and once you feel that, just stop hitting it, because if you keep hitting it, you're going to flatten one of these edges out. So so I've got my little skull right here. I hope you can see it. I don't know if I'm too close or not close enough, or if it's blurry. It's very cool. And so the back just has a very minimum of scratchy stuff, little burr. And I'll take my sanding stick and just file that off briefly. It really doesn't need much, but I'd rather do that on the reverse side than on the front. Okay, so that's a 3/4 inch. And now I'll remove my sheet metal. And let's see, let's get a pumpkin face. This one's going to be a little bit smaller. So let's go. And this other metal is not going to go to waste. I will use it up. Won't be a problem. Deb, I don't know if there's a way to resharpen the disc cutters. I would think that that is a Kevin Potter question. Not that he would do it. I'm just saying he would know if it could be done. Or maybe David from Peppy Tools, who sells it. That would probably be my first go-to source, and ask them, you know, if they do that sort of thing, because that might be kind of nice. I know that when I was teaching classes in my studio, we did a lot of metal classes, and I had a couple of more economy type of disc punches. They don't screw down and sandwich the metal in nicely. They kind of have a gap, and so you can get some bounce, and it's maybe not the best of situations, but I would go over with everybody which end you put in the disc cutter, because you want to put the cutting edge in and not the top edge like this. And I can't tell you how many people would repeatedly put the wrong end in the cutter, and it would be skewed. It's because it's not the same thickness up here as it is down here, so it would move a little bit and hit the inside walls of my disc punch. So that would make me very unhappy, because then when you have all these marks inside, that transfers to your metal, and a lot of times you would get bigger burrs on your pieces when you were cutting properly. But by putting this upside down and pounding this, that's not good for this side either. And they would be pounding, and I couldn't check on everybody all at once, and they'd say, well, it's not going through, and what happens is you make your metal turns into almost like a bottle cap, because it's pushing the metal but it's not cutting the metal, and it can really screw up your your disc punch or disc cutter. So I would have to say, you know, you really have to stress, or I got to the point where I color coded the tops, but they wear off when you hit them. So, you know, I was getting tired of having to replace those disc cutters. So once I got this, I kind of left this one off limits to them. But now I make sure, I make really sure that that's not going to happen. Yeah, a machinist might be able to do that also. So that's a thought. That is a thought. Okay, so I've got my little pumpkin face here, and I've got my Scully there. And I think I'll do a spider web. Do I have my spider web? I thought I had it. Oh, it's in here. No wonder. Okay, so let's put something else in. And I am using 22 gauge metal. You could use 20 also if you wanted to. It's just going to be a little bit heavier of a bracelet, but it'll work. All right, so let's get a nice image for, oh, I need this side for this size, for the 1/2 inch. So this one is not quite as, I'm not quite as particular where I put this one in, because you can still tell it's a spider web. Put this shim on the other side. All right. And I got my 1/2 inch punch in there. And it's through. Okay, so that's how you use the disc punch. And I'll just sand these briefly. Just to get any bit of scratchiness off. And I'm not going to dome these, although you could if you wanted to, but I think they look nice flat just the way they are. That's totally up to you. Hi, Suni. I am using 22 gauge, but you could use 20 as well if you wanted to. All right, so I've got my 3 pieces here, and I am going to mark where I want to punch the holes. And if you know me, you know that I eyeball just about everything. And the skull is going to be on the bottom. This is for an earring. I'm just going to do that to start with. And the other 2 have to have holes punched, top and bottom. If you were going to hang a little dangle, then you would need another hole at the bottom of your last disc. I'm just going to use punch pliers to make my holes. This is a 1.5 millimeter punch, hole punch. Sometimes there's a little bit of a burr on the back of this as well, and you'll have to sand those off. Or you could hit it with a one of the like a little pumice wheel on the flex shaft. You can knock that burr off real easy, like that. Or you can just hit it with a file. But these are adorable. Might be a little crooked on this one, but that's what I get for eyeballing. That's not bad. All right, so that's got all the holes in it. All right, I'm going to put this stuff out of my way and we will proceed. All right, so that's the parts for the earrings. And for the bracelet itself, I did these, when I made the bracelet, I didn't know how many discs I was going to need, and it was like, by the time I was done, I realized it was super overkill. So I put them in the liver of sulfur. I cleaned them with steel wool, but they're still a little bit dark for my liking. So I am going to use that flash shiner on here, and I'm just going to use, there's like a little tiny abrasive on both of the side pieces of the block, and on the kind of seafoam green, there's a really, well, let's say it's a three-step process. First is gray, second is green, 3 is white. Okay. So you could use either side of those first. You don't have to do that exactly on these, but I just knock off a little bit of that raised color, and then I hit it with the white side to just shine that up. And it really does work nicely. So it makes them a lot nicer looking. And it retains the liver of sulfur in the deep recesses of the piece. Where if you just kept cleaning it with the steel wool, you would totally lighten the whole piece. So this is just a little bit gentler, and it makes a nicer result. It doesn't need much. Can you see that? I'm not sure if I'm in the frame well or not. Gwen, if you're still there, your husband made me laugh because when I placed my order, I said that that you were a doll and Hull wasn't half bad either. And I know he packages the orders, so he had that circled where he wasn't half bad. And it cracked me up. I think he must be a character. All right. So you get the gist of it. You know, you just make a whole bunch of discs. What I tried to do was make sets of 3 of each pattern that I put on. So, and it doesn't have to be like this. It's just the anal part in me that I did. That way I was sure I was even with everything. It was kind of, well, I had a little bit more to choose from, but it was like a pumpkin, bats, and a skull, and then it was a spider web, pumpkin, and bats, you know, and their, you know, and so on all the way across. So there was an even mix. Yet never a dull moment with all. I would imagine not. It seems like a lot of fun. That day that he was doing, I think he was helping you with a drawing or something, and he came out with his suit, with his French cuffs on his shirt, and I don't know, did he have a top hat, whatever, to pick all the numbers? He put his hand out, you know, and he's making gestures. It was hilarious. I don't know which which demo that was, or if it was, like I said, a contest, but it cracked me up. I knew he was my kind of people. All right, so this is the time that you would do this, you know, when you clean the discs. If you're going to assemble it the way that I did, because my chain was already patinaed. So if you try to clean these and shine these with the flash shiner after the fact, you can still do that, but you've got your jump ring in the way, so you'd have to disconnect that if you wanted to make sure that you got the entire piece highlighted like that. So, but it can be done. But this is working a little bit smarter, in my opinion. So you'd go through that with all your discs, and then we go into the chain making part, which is very simple. And if I'm not explaining something well enough, or you know, you want a little bit better explanation, or if I'm going too fast, just let me know. This is pretty straightforward as far as a project goes, but I'm going to try to go through all the steps with you. So when you're making the chain for this, I chose a 2 and 2, which is basically 2 jump rings put into another 2 jump rings and into another 2 jump rings all the way along. So I'm going to start off, I used a little twist tie, and I put 2 closed jump rings on that. And to those 2 closed jump rings, then I added 2 more jump rings and closed them. Then I added 2 more jump rings and closed them. So it goes like that all the way down the line. So I did this one last night. It doesn't take long at all when you're doing this method, because there's really no tricky parts or anything. It's just simply putting 2 in, closing them in, closing those 2, and putting 2 more, and so on and so on. So I'll put on a few, and then I'll make the bald head pins. It helps if you open your jump rings. That's what I should have done. First, you just take some jump rings and twist them open a little bit. You don't want to twist them all the way open, because you tend to distort your jump rings when you do that. So we just open. If you can do this before you get started, it's nice, because you don't have to stop and keep opening jump rings. But, you know, whatever works for you is fine. So you're just going to open some up. Yeah, Jennifer, his hand gestures, they just cracked me up. You could tell that he was a magician. I think, Gwen, you mentioned that he used to do magic tricks and stuff like that. That'd be pretty fun. That's right. Gwen can make him all the cufflinks he could want. All right. All right, so I've got some opened up here. And I just would keep putting those in. Close it real well. You want to make sure that you close them nice and tightly, nice and snug. You shouldn't see any daylight between the ends of the jump ring, and the metal should be absolutely flush. You shouldn't see any little jagged parts of the jump ring. It should be nice and flush all the way around. Otherwise, you're going to snag your clothing, you're going to irritate your skin, and it just doesn't look really nicely done. So you want to take the extra time and close them really well. The other issue is that you need to see really well to know if they're closed well or not. And I ran into a lot of people who thought they were seeing okay. Oops, I twisted that one too much. They thought they saw really well, but they didn't. And I always tell people, if you need magnifying glasses, please put them on. You will be happier with the outcome of your project. Have good lighting and good magnification. Very important for nice, neat jobs. So you get the gist on this, correct? Hopefully. Yeah, if you run your thumb over it, like Jennifer's saying, you can feel if there's any rings that aren't quite right. So it should be nice and smooth all the way down. Suni, I am using 4mm, but you could use larger if you wanted. I would say a 6mm, a 5, 5.5, 6 is probably as large as I would go for this. But I kind of like my charm bracelets kind of full and tight together, so I find a 4 works pretty well. And then from time to time I will check to see if I'm doing okay size-wise, and I'm there. I might even actually be a little bit too big by the time I get my clasp on. But I'm going to stop at this point with my chain, and I'll make the clasp so you can see that. Okay. All right, so for the clasp, I am using 14 gauge, and it's 2¼ inches based on the size of the large round nose pliers that I'm using. It's based on the pliers that you use. The standard round nose pliers come in a variety of shapes, well, not shapes, but of sizes. The cones on them, the tines, I don't know what you want to call them, but they look like a cone. They can be long and slender. They can be shorter and fatter. It's just the type of brand, the brand that you buy. So they're all a little bit different. So I kind of base my stuff on these two. I've got a pair of Wubbers, standard pliers, round nose pliers, and I don't know what these are. These are probably from Eurotool. This is the long round nose plier. So it's significantly wider down here, and I want that for the hook on my clasp. Okay, so I'm going to take my bench block and my chasing hammer, and I've already measured the wire, but it's 2¼ inches, and I'm going to just flatten the tip here a little bit. Just a little bit on that end. And I'm going to use my standard round nose pliers to just make a little P on the end of this piece of wire. So I'm rolling it away from me. I just want a small loop on this end. And it's not so easy really to turn this after you've just hammered it. But I like the look of it hammered at the end a little bit. I think it lays better. Okay, so I've got my little P like this. I'm just a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to squeeze that with my flat nose pliers to tuck that under. And then, let's see, I'll just straighten that out a little bit. Then I'm going to take my long round nose pliers, and I'm going to put it all the way in the back where it's the largest diameter here on the back of it. And I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to push the wire up and right next to the loop that I just made. Okay. Now I'm going to take it out of the pliers. And now I have like a little shepherd's hook. Okay. So now I'm going to put the wire back into the back end of my pliers. And I'm just going to, that actually is a little bit rough right there. I should have sanded that down on the edge just to make it a little nicer. Okay. Okay. So then I have the shepherd's hook pointing towards me, towards my body, and I'm going to put the flat wire right even with the tines of the plier and roll away from me again. And roll it till it touches the back of that wire. So there you have a little S-clasp, or I don't know if that's what you call these or not, but that's kind of what I call them. And then you might need to tweak the metal a little bit, but what I do here, I think I tweaked it too far. I don't want it to overlap. I want it to just touch. Okay. So then I'm going to take the ball peen side of my chasing hammer and I'm going to hit the arc of this clasp just in that area. And as I'm hitting it, I'm also kind of stretching it. This is 14 gauge, Cindy, for the clasp. It makes a nice substantial clasp. So I'm gonna hit it, and I know you can't really see that, but I'm kind of pulling it as I hit, which kind of stretches that arced area out a little bit more, and I just think it looks nicer. It's just an aesthetic thing. It doesn't have to be that way. And also when you're hitting it, the metal is pulling apart a little bit. So then you're going to need to tweak it with your, see how it's spread open right here? You need to just push that back a little bit. Okay, and then make sure it's even. You don't want it to be open too far so it doesn't fall off your bracelet, but you also want it just large enough so that you can slip your jump ring in there. Now I soldered some jump rings for a closure. That's another thing I do when I have no inspiration going on, is, like I said, I just make some parts. They're just nice to have. So I took a copper jump ring. This is probably 14 gauge as well, or maybe 16. I think it's 14. And I soldered this one close. All right, so that's ready to go for my opposite end. I want to, I'm going to need to dip that. See, I'm doing things kind of cockeyed here because some things are patinaed and some things aren't. So what I think I'm going to do is, and this is strictly however you want to do it, I'm going to put some liver of sulfur into my pot here. Sorry, you can get a nice shot of my arm. My crepey old arm. All right, I'm going to stick that in, and I think I'm going to stick these two pieces, or these three pieces in as well to the liver. And that should only take a couple of seconds, really. If your liver of sulfur is warm, it will work quicker. My stuff is getting kind of old. I think it's gotten contaminated, actually. I need to get some new stuff. But it does get messed up. So just be aware. I like to buy the liver of sulfur gel as opposed to the liver of sulfur chunks, which I used to buy before I knew that there was gel available. But the chunks go bad very quickly if they have any moisture introduced to them at all, and it makes the entire jar bad. So that, that's not a good thing. All right, so I put those in the liver of sulfur. And like I said, it doesn't take long. They get really black. I should have put gloves on. Oh, well. I'm always a day late and $1 short. All right, so I use these little pieces of craft foam quite a lot when I work. It's not necessary, but I like it a lot when I'm cleaning pieces because it doesn't really have a grip to it, but yet it doesn't slide off, and it doesn't tear up like it would if you were doing this on a paper towel, which I also like too much, paper towels. So it's pretty simple to do the clasp, these kinds of clasps, and I've never had really any trouble with them. I haven't had any complaints as far as people losing their bracelets from this. It's all in the way it fits. Oh, Deb, that's a great idea, keeping a silica package in there. I never even thought of that. That's a great tip. All right, so now I'm going to take the flash shiner and just do a little bit of magic on that. That's cool. All right, so those will be ready to go. And now I'm going to attach my clasp. Take this off here. And there's a right side and a wrong side to hammer your clasp, and I did the wrong side, but I think I can hit over that because I like it. I like them to go one way and put it this way so that I can grab it and close it. If I have it this way, I feel like it's backwards, but that might just be me. I don't know. Hit it on this side. Usually when you hit something on both sides, it kind of cancels out the other side, which this did. It flattened that out, and I'm okay with that. All right, so now I'm going to open up. It's easier to just open this up a little bit. And on this side, I will put my ring. You can do this before or after you put your stuff on. It really makes no difference. It's just, I think it's just how your brain is wired, how you do stuff. I'm happy for that tip, Deb, with the chunks, the silica packet. I've got a ton of those for other things and never thought to put that in the liver of sulfur chunks. However, I don't have any of those right now anyway, so but that's a great tip. All right, so I've got my ends on, and now I'm going to try to, oh, the next thing, I get rid of this. The next thing I'm going to do is wire wrap some balls. Let me put this on here. My work mat is getting so scuzzy looking. Oh, I'm pixelating again. Alright, so I'll make a couple of these balls and put some itty bitty 2mm copper balls on here. Yeah, you wouldn't want to see my crepey old thighs either, Deb. Maybe we'll be twins, I don't know. Alright, so I'm going to put a little 2mm ball on here. And then a 6mm ball. I don't put a 2mm on the top. You could if you wanted, but I find that I end up smashing them because they're so small. So if you don't know how to do a wire wrapped loop, I have a demo of this on my Artisans Workshop business page in the videos that you can watch and replay until you get it down pat if you don't know how to do it. But it makes your life a whole lot easier if you can wire wrap, and it makes your projects look a whole lot nicer if you wire wrap neatly. And then there's always a little bit of a tail where you cut off, and I just kind of smash that in. That's where I would smash the 2mm ball if I added that to the top. But that makes a nice little dingle ball, if you will. You lost me for a while? Oh gosh, I wonder what was lost in the demo. If there's something that you don't understand, let me know. But since I'm kind of jumping around, that might be difficult to know what you might have missed. Okay. This is my method of wire wrapping. There are other ways, but this is how I started off doing it, and I can't seem to do it any other way. But it works well. Do one more, and then I'll put them in the liver of sulfur. And then I'll start attaching everything together. You want to make sure you cut those little stabby bits off and then press whatever's left down so you get nothing hooked on anything. Alright, so I have 3 here. I'll put them in the liver of sulfur. And then I'll clean those balls. Oh, while I'm waiting for that, I'll put some jump rings on these guys. Oh, I have to try that, Monica. That's a good idea. All right. See, everybody has their methods that they figure out. And I think that's great. All right, so I'm putting this bottom guy on, and then I'm putting the bottom half of the pumpkin. Or not. There we go. Where's my other pliers? Oh, here they are. I have too much stuff. And close this up. Just make sure you're putting the front facing on there. And then I just think that these are really cute. And I have to put the jump ring going the opposite way, so I can put my ear wire. And I always use niobium ear wires for my copper pieces because it's hypoallergenic, and that's a nice selling point because there's a lot of people that have metal allergies. So the niobium, to my knowledge, there isn't any allergic reactions to that. So there we have a cute little earring. Oh, I forgot about my balls. Okay. All right. Can't have that. All right. So let's get these guys cleaned up. You could also use copper pearls as opposed to solid copper balls if you can't find them. Copper pearls are usually available. 6 millimeters. It's an option. These are a little more tedious to clean up. And normally, I will clean them up most of the way, and then after everything's assembled, then I'll throw it in the tumbler for 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't need too long in the tumbler, but it's enough to get off some of that liver sulfur residue that you might miss or not be able to access. So then it doesn't come off on anybody's skin, which would be not good. Not nice. I mean, you want things to look and be as best quality as you can make them. So having somebody's skin turn black from excess liver of sulfur is kind of not a professional presence for your jewelry. Okay, so I've got those 3 done. And this also helps keep all those little steel wool fibers together, and then I can toss that all out later. Okay, so assembling. You can work from either end. It doesn't make one bit of difference. And I guess I need to get all of my sizes here. I guess I didn't clean up all of them with the flash shiner like I should have, but I'll just do a few segments. I'm not going to do the whole bracelet because that would be monotonous, and you get the idea, hopefully. All right, so the way I line these up is two of these are every other link of two is one is vertical and one is horizontal. So I'm going to link, or I'm going to attach on all my vertical loops. Okay, so I'll show you that a little bit better, just to keep it consistent. Alright, so I'll start off with a small pumpkin. It doesn't matter what it is, I'll just grab one. And I'm attaching it to the first set of vertical twos. Then I move to the next set of vertical twos. Now this is another thing you can totally do however you want to do it. There's no rule that says you have to do it the way I'm doing it. You can mix up the sizes. I'm just sticking with a small, medium, large, but you can certainly mix it up or do just two sizes. I think Deb did her bracelet in two sizes and it looked very nice just like that. So, you know, that is just a personal choice. I just felt like I needed to do something to make this mine, you know, and not copy Deb's exactly the way she did it. So that's not nice to copy other people's things. Unless you ask them if they don't have a problem with that, that's fine. But I think it's always kind of fun to add your own spin to something. So at first when I did the bracelet, I just put one ball in between each set of three, and that looked fine. In fact, that was the first picture that I put you know, on the website or on the group page. And then I thought, I think maybe I'll add another couple. And, you know, I actually like it a lot with the three on there. So, but that's, again, a personal choice. You copy away, Deb. You know, the way I feel, and this is just my opinion, but if I put something out there, and you want to do the same thing, you know, I have no problem with that. I wouldn't be showing you guys how to do this stuff if I was not wanting anybody to copy what I make. It's just not, that's just not the way I am. But the only thing that I have reservations about is someone that I teach something, like if a local group or something that I've taught, I don't want you sitting next to me at a an art show or whatever, a craft show, selling the same things that I taught you how to make. That's the only problem that I have with that. But it's other than that, I think it's fair game. But everybody has their opinions on that stuff, so I'm just telling you mine. So, because I think that would be kind of rotten. At least make it a little different if you're gonna do the same thing if you're sitting next to me. So, all right, so I'm gonna put on another 3. those are always sticky areas, sticky ethical areas. All right. So, you know, Halloween is a great holiday for lots of decoration and holiday ideas if you like that sort of thing. It seems like there are more projects that I can come up with for Halloween than I can maybe for some of the other occasions. But I'm going to show you something else after I put a couple more of these on. Another Halloween idea that I'm not going to do, but it's something I've already done, but you can just change the whole look by the different kind of beads that you add. So actually there's two different things I'm going to show you. Medium. And I don't have any other balls made, so. But this is the progression, you know, it's just 3 discs, 3 balls, 3 discs, 3 balls, all the way down, if that's what you want to do. But that's what I did, okay? And then the earring, where did I put the earring? Oh, here, it's right next to me. So there's that one earring, and then there's the other one that I added a little copper bead to, but you could put, you know, a different kind of bead on the bottom. You know, it doesn't have to be, excuse me, a copper bead. It could be a glass bead. Excuse me. It could be some Halloween-y type color, you know, orange, kind of a lime green or purple, black, you know, something like that to make it pop a little bit more. So Sony's asking, can you show the links that you are hooking onto again? Yeah, like these, it's got, like for the ones that I'm adding on to like this for the earring, is that what you're talking about? You know, you have to punch a hole in the top and bottom to connect them, and then either leave this without anything on the bottom, or you can punch a hole in that bottom one and add another little something. But if you're talking about this is where I'm adding to the same, how would I say it? The same set of 2. You know, when you have the chain, some are going horizontal and some are going, every other one is horizontal and vertical. So I just picked one. I like the one that's vertical. I think it might lay a little bit better. So I'm going to stick it on. Where's my pointer? So I am putting it on every other one. Now it looks like it's vertical. It's just the way it's laying. But you stick with the same way. So it's like this vertical, then horizontal, vertical, then horizontal, vertical, then horizontal, and so on, all the way across. So you're skipping 2 jump rings, or 1 set of jump rings. You're putting a disc on every other set. Okay, on the bracelet. Okay. Okay, so you got that? You're skipping every other jump ring. A set of 2 jump rings. Okay. Just so we all understand. Okay, so that is the Halloween charm bracelet. Hello again. Okay, so that's that. And I'm thinking, you know, Gwen makes patterns for Christmas time, winter, holiday, whatever. So you could do that. You could make a holiday bracelet like this with all the charms. You could, I don't know, I think you could do it with a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a holiday, but it could be like a theme or something if you wanted to do that, or just random patterns that you like. There's lots of variety out there. I did want to say there's another Halloween project that you can make with the Boho stack bracelet that I made, or I did a demo in the fall, I think. I can't really remember exactly, but I think, I mean, it's in the video demo archives on the group page, so you can find it. You just have to scroll down through the list of the demos. But it's the Boho stack bracelet that we did in different colors. But this one, it makes kind of a cute Halloween focused bracelet. So, and I just did this with red, green, and orange, kind of a lime green. These are silver lined beads, which kind of look neat. And then a black opaque in between, and then put the button on there. So that's kind of a fun holiday bracelet that you can make easily enough. You can also do this same thing with Christmas. Excuse me, I gotta get a drink here. With the Christmas one, I did silver lined green and silver lined red, and this particular white was frost, but they also have silver lined white too, or you could do silver if you wanted to do that. So that's an option. These are 4mm jump rings, okay, on leather cord. These are kind of fun. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, which is, you know, just fine, and you want like a winter theme kind of one, I consider like an ice blue and white or crystal a real pretty winter color. You could use it any time of year, actually, but I think that that's kind of a nice theme for wintertime too. Just kind of reminds me of the snow and a blue sky, and I don't know. Maybe that's kind of sappy. I don't know. But anyway, that's something that you can do with that. That brings me up to Kumihimo. And I recently posted the availability of kits, holiday kits for Kumihimo holiday bracelet. And I offer 3, I think, different choices for that. So you can have the red and green and silver in a stripey. So that's one option. These have the magnetic clasps that are awesome. This one is a 4th of July one. Deb, I think you made one of these and posted it in the group, and these are kind of fun. So I'm going to be doing another Kumihimo demo with the stripes, because the demo that I had was just a random mix of colors. This will be to get the stripe effect in here. So I've offered kits. It's in the page, and you know, if you want one of those kits, let me know as soon as possible, because I'm ordering all the supplies, and I will let you know when I get all the supplies and make the kits up when we'll actually have the demo. But I'm thinking it'll be sometime mid-November, so you'll have plenty of time to get these things made if you want to give them as holiday gifts or whatever. They're very inexpensive to make as gifts, and they're cute little presents. So either one, you know, the Kumihimo takes a little bit longer, but once you get that rhythm going, with your beads, and you get everything set up, you can actually knock off a bracelet like this in about an hour, maybe an hour and a half max. So that's not a long time investment on that. And these wrap bracelets are even faster than that. So way faster, maybe like 20-25 minutes fast. So that's pretty darn good. All right, so I think that's it. Oh, next week, I think what I'm doing right now, I'm thinking about water castings, and I did do a water cast demo in the fall last year, and so I don't know if I'm going to re-show that, the process of making them, but this I was thinking of showing you jewelry pieces using the water castings, and I'm just at the beginning stages of thinking of what that'll be, but I'm thinking I'm going to show you what I've done so far, but I want to do other things than just these, so bear with me here. It'll be mostly ideas and just a few things of showing you ideas. All right, let's see here. Okay. All right, hopefully you can see these. These are going to be earrings here that I just haven't had time to finish them up. But these are little post earrings with a tiny little tube setting. I did do these on the demo last fall. Okay, so that I don't know if I'll cover that or not. I don't think I did a ring on here, and I don't know if I do this on this type of ring, but something like this. Can you see this better? Oh, closer to me. I'll try that. I forget to look, I'm sorry about that. Is this a better view? Yeah, that's better. Thank you, Suni. Okay, so these are the water castings that I soldered on here, and then I'll put some ear wires on here. These just have some little beads in between some water castings, a ring, and some other little doodads. I don't know what they're going to be. I was just playing around with them, but I thought that this might be kind of a fun thing. I'd like to string some stuff too with, beads and water castings and stuff. So, so that's, I think, the way I'm going for next week. And I don't know. I would hope that that you'd like to see it. I don't know. I'm guessing what you guys want to see and stuff that I play with. And anyway, we'll go from there. All right, guys. Like I said, if you want a Kumihimo kit, just sign up on that post for one. And then as soon as I've got the pricing, if you already have a Kumihimo disc, you don't need another one for the kit, but you will need the string, the beads, the magnet. You won't need the weight if you still have it. So be as specific as you can. I gave choices, like on a complete kit or a kit without the disc, or a disc without the kit and magnet. Weight, the lead weight, or just the beads. If you just order the beads, that's all you're going to get is the beads. If you need a partial kit with the cord, and all that stuff, just say what you want so that I know exactly. So there's no screw ups, hopefully, because that can happen. And I think I've spelled it out okay on the post. Just be specific as to what you need. If you buy multiple kits, you only need one disc unless you're giving the kit as a gift, in which you would need all of it. So just let me know what you need. Okay. So with that, I'm gonna end the video or the demo and proceed with my water castings, I think, for a little while before I make dinner and see what else I can come up with. So as always, I enjoy you guys being here with me. It keeps me going. It keeps me going. If you make some holiday stuff like this, please post it in the group. I'd like to see what you guys come up with. If you know people that would like to join our group, please ask them if they would be interested. And we'll get more members on there. And hey, Beth or Mary, you're quite welcome. I'm glad you joined me. See you next time. Bye-bye.